Hello again, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor. I'm so glad you're joining me again today, and we're ready to go now to back to the art table, and I'm going to show you how to paint some beautiful diptych paintings, and I'm going to explain to you real quickly here what they are, and then we will go to the table and we will do some similar to some that I'll show you in photographs on the video here. So what is a diptych painting? Okay, they're very they've been around for a long time. Back centuries ago they did diptych paintings, which were on panels that were attached to each other. Some of these are in Christian paintings, anyway, so now in the modern day they're separated often, and they can just be two paintings which are put together, and they're matted maybe the same way, but they're not exactly the same, the two paintings. Of course, they're related to each other, but they're very similar. So you can, like I was saying, you can mat them like this, or you can mat them both vertically, or one could be like this and one could be like this. Okay? But the paintings will, have their similarities yet differences. I have, like I said, I'll show you this example on a photograph of the two that I did that are more similar than these here, but I thought I'd show you another example. And you can look them up, and you'll see lots of diptych paintings that people do, I'm sure, all over the computer these days and all over the internet. So here's one, these two. Here's a diptych set that I bought from a lady, and she was doing these with calligraphy pen, but they're watercolors, and they are similar. As you can see, the style is the same, of course, the same handwriting. It's using calligraphy pen and very wet on wet loose. One is an iris, and the other is, to me, it looks like a Gerber daisy. I don't know if these are real flowers in real life, but one is smaller, and they're both vertical, but this one's more narrow. This one's more almost to a square. Okay, so as you can see, they're very beautiful, and they look nice together, and they've been matted the same way. She just used black paper to mat them, and that is another way that you can do them. So we're going to do that, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to use interference and iridescent paints to get some shimmer and shine and some ethereal effects with that, and you'll see the ones I did before, and then we're going to do something very similar, but we're going to use different colors and see what happens together. And it's something that you can be free enough that you can try yourself. So I'd like you to do that. Even if yours don't look just like mine, that's not the point, but you can get loose and free with the paint, and you can let the paints flow and just have something in there, just semi-subjective, like a leaf or a flower, or maybe just grasses, or maybe just water. You can decide. So you can, like I say, copy what I'm doing, which I know some people do. I've had some comments, where they try what I've done. Or you can, kind of explore on your own, pick a subject. It doesn't have to be landscape either. It could be anything. You could do parts of a face, or, an animal, or whatever you like. But, you could start with this and then move on to your own diptychs, okay? This is a great thing to know about. So I'm glad you're here. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you at the table. Okay, so we're just drawing here our leaf shapes and some grasses, just to get some subject into this work that's going to be very wet on wet. And then I'm going to take some masking fluid, and we'll put that in. It's got a little yellow tint to it, this masking fluid. You can get any kind that you like. This is the kind we remove with the masking fluid remover, which we'll do after we put the paint in. Now I'm putting in the masking fluid on with the Incredible Nib, which is my
my small, it's like a wooden piece with a thick end and a thin end that you can buy. The Incredible Nib is designed for applying masking fluid, and I usually use this the most. You can use a brush if you put soap on it, and make sure it stays with soap or you'll ruin your brushes. So I tend to go with this one and then just peel the dry fluid off of the nib when I'm finished. And now just go ahead and do the second painting as well, and add off the masking fluid the same way.
So we're going to go wet on wet here, big brush, getting ready to paint these. We're gonna wet on wet this entire piece, okay? Now, like I said, you can go one at a time here. Some of my masking fluid I took off is still on the paper. Okay, so these are going to be, again, wet on wet, and I'm going to do the variegated wash, which means colors are going to flow together. And some of the colors will be dark, like the blacks here, lunar black and Payne's gray, and then up here the forest green, and some of the lighter green, the phthalo green light, will come into play here. I haven't decided if I want a blue in here. It might be lovely to have some of these blues, but I'm going to see how it goes, mainly with these greens, and then I may bring in some of this beautiful red, but I'm also going to go with some of these interference colors, splashing those in at some point, and letting them flow. The paint, things have to dry a little before I can do that, so that they don't flow like totally wet. So yeah, I'm letting the paper soak in some of that water. Don't forget you got your spray bottle and those colors I'd mentioned, and we're letting this kind of soak in. I've wet my paints already, at least some of them. I think I'll wet my, I always spritz my colors a little. It helps them when you want to wet them. And then we are going to begin the excitement here. Again, these beautiful wet on wet flowing type things are very exciting and fun, and you feel a little out of control, which is, you know, a good exercise too. And these will, you know, be able to be used as real paintings. I've got them, you know, like I said, masked off here. I'm going in with a large flat to start, and I'm going to bring in some of these beautiful greens right now, and, you know, let them go. And it's kind of a good experience to do two paintings at the same time. My brush could be wetter, right? And I'm doing them in a similar way, okay, where these paints are going to start to go and flow here. And that's a gorgeous green, isn't it? And, you know, I'm getting that brush a little wetter, and it's going to help this to flow a little. And yeah, there we go. Sometimes I jump ahead of myself. I should get the brushes really wet. And we're just going to see how beautiful those colors on their own can be. But we're also going to start to bring in some of this lovely phthalo green light soon. And I think you can see over here, I still have my brush cleaner that my daughter got me. It's good for really getting the color out. It's over there. Right there, that. And I dip it in and I brush the color out. so that I can, if I'm using the same brush, you can see that most of that color is out of the, yeah, it's out of the brush here. And then I can go in with my other green. And we're gonna just kind of variegate. I've got a lot on my palette, right? That's good. But we're gonna just kind of bring, now remember my paper is still wet, but I'm just kind of coming up in here and maybe mixing some, letting some of these colors flow into each other now. I'm gonna do the same on this side. I'm not thinking about this too hard. This is the gorgeousness of wet on wets and what they do, okay? And the gravity, my board is up a little bit. Is there something under there, like a roll of tape or something, just to kind of help it. Okay, and then, like I said, I'm debating if I want blue up in here. If I do it, maybe an aqua blue. And we can add more in here or bring these more together as we need here. And when you're looking at two paintings, it does kind of, it's good because it keeps you from, woo, my palette's flowing here. It keeps things from kind of getting overworked, I guess I want to say. And yeah, I'm just kind of bringing some of this green in. And to the other green now. And it's already, you can see the masking fluid blocking things, right? Now my leaves, if I decide to kind of go around them, you know, and there may be some things that are starting to almost look like leaves in here, I might try to maintain that just are white of the paper. And just being open and flexible to these things, okay? Where's my little leaf? Here it is, up here. So, you know, we can kind of go around these a little. I'm going to start to bring in some of this bluish green now. It's still got green in it, but it's my, I think it's the Pthaelo, yeah, Pthaelo blue of Sennilier has a lot of, oh yeah, that's a beautiful color. We'll just kind of bring that into the top, and then we'll come in darker if we decide to.
Okay, so I just continue adding more blue and a more blue, not such a greenish blue. I think it's the Pthaelo blue from Daniel Smith. I thought it added a lot more character to the painting, so that was a change of mind. I didn't think the greenish blue was enough variation from the greens below. Also, as the paper was drying, I needed to add more green down into the front there, the bottom in the front. Just, you know, varying values. As you can see, we need to keep making decisions as we go with the wet on wet. You keep observing and adding more where you need it, and I needed more blue.
I almost forgot, but it's good to take your maybe a smaller brush, maybe a pointed round. That's a pointed round. And I'm going to come in with the very sedimentary darks, like a black, like a Payne's Gray is here, and or Lunar Black. To me, they're almost the same. So, but I wanted to come in a little bit with some of these dark leaves now, which add definition and drama. Okay, and you know, as this is again, as it's drying more, I'm able to do this. I have finished here taking off the masking fluid with my masking fluid remover, you could either use your magic rub eraser like this and do it, and you just, you know, get enough to where you can lift it and peel it up. It's like rubber, it comes off. I may not have got all of it, but I think I have most of it off. And or you can use your masking fluid lifter, which also is like sort of like a piece of rubber. And I'm not sure where it went, so I was going to show you it. Interesting. So if I see it, I'll show you, but this will work just fine. Making sure all the fluid is off, because it's acidic and it's not good for our paper on long term. I know people say take it off in 24 hours. I don't pressure myself that way. It might take me a few days to get to the masking fluid, depending how long it takes to paint. And so, yeah. So they look pretty good. There are some lines that look like I didn't finish them, which is a little frustrating sometimes with masking fluid. But we can kind of bring that together. We can do two things. One, we can take white paint, opaque white paint, put that in. Or we can take the ground, which is you know, sort of an acrylic base, and it will just, you could fill in if you'd like to. Like here, I wanted this to come all the way to the end of the board. But I think we have enough information here to just kind of start to use to put our leaves in. And I may go with leaves that have a color to them, because, you know, some leaves have a reddish to them. And again, this is abstract painting, so I'm not, you know, taking this directly from anything. I like the movement of the leaves sort of in the atmosphere, and I just kind of went with grasses and leaves. And I also did take the back of my brush at one point, and I did some scraping into the wet, so there's some small grasses in there too.
I was going to use the interference colors, but I didn't know if they would show up here because my colors aren't really dark except for the black areas. So I'm using some pale gold metallic paint by Daniel Smith. Comes in a jar dry, and it has a little more strong color to it. So I thought, or pigment, whatnot. So, and very gold, very, I think, good for this particular painting. Here I decided to add the pinks. I put a little bit of Sennilier red into the Opera Rose from Sennilier Watercolors. I hope you are enjoying this video and seeing how our diptych is taking shape. And if you want to see how it gets finished, go to part 2, and you'll see some shimmer and luminosity added, some ethereal qualities to these paintings. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and let's keep learning more about watercolor and all that they do. Thank you so much for joining.